What's up? It's Robert from Existence First. And what I want to talk to you about today is a common piece of advice that's given to social workers or caseworkers from other social workers and caseworkers, especially in the field of psychology, mental health, and social services. And that common piece of advice is this: you shouldn't work harder than the client. And on the one hand, there's some truth to this. It's often said in situations where you have another caseworker who's um, burned out or really overextending themselves, and the client is not all that engaged in the problem solving and the treatment. But I'm going to put a little different spin on this. Okay, I'm going to say you should be working harder than the client. You should actually be working harder than any other person you can think of. That's my personal philosophy, and I get the results to support that philosophy and the strength of that philosophy. But here's where the value is, because that statement does have value, or the advice does have value, but here's where it is. You don't want to become over invested in the problem or over attached to the outcome, right? You don't want to be more invested than the client. That's where it is. You do want to be invested in the process of how you do your job and how you provide the help. Actually, you should do it like a skill and like an art form, okay? But you have to acknowledge that you don't have control over the client's choices directly. You don't have direct control. Okay. That being said, let me add one more piece, which is a problem with that advice of you shouldn't work harder than the client is that it leads to a lot of caseworkers or social workers walking around saying things like, well, I offered help, but they didn't want the help. So, right, I'm not going to do anything. Number one, that's wrong because you're having an emotional reaction to it, and so now you are getting pulled in, right? Number two, it's a problem because when you just offer the help, there's not just one way to do it. Okay? Look at the difference between you tell them, well, you could come with me to get your medications or not. It's your choice. Versus something like, all right, well, it's 3:30, the pharmacy closes at 4. If you and I left right now, we would make it there. I will bet you we would get the meds. We would be back here, there and back in about 20 minutes, and we can get it done. We could push it till tomorrow, but I've got a lot of appointments, so it's up to you. If you want to go right now, we could definitely get it done. You hear the difference between those two examples, and that's where the art of communication comes in. Do you want to know how to do that? I have a book. It's on Amazon called Skilled Compassion, and I go through examples and the whole mindset behind that communication, okay? Because helping people, everybody wants to help, which is a good thing. But there's a skill behind helping certain populations, because there's a population that you go to help them and they'll grab that help and run with it and succeed right away. There's another portion of the population where you try to help, and then you encounter resistance and all sorts of things. And that's where skill comes in. So check it out. I'll put a link below. So remember to, if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel, and you'll see more videos I'm going to add to this playlist, which is a Skills for Social Workers playlist. Sort of a tongue twister. Skills for Social Workers playlist.